you're reading about right here. 4 world empires combined as one. To do what? Rule the entire world. And their master is Satan, because it tells you that the dragon gave them power. The dragon was giving them power back then, just as individuals. So now you understand the meaning behind this beast. We still gonna deal with why he's red, but now you understand the meaning behind this beast. And so far as we have been reading about these 4 empires that are now combined into one, or will be combined into one, we haven't read anything about red hellfire or about Edom or Esau, have we? We ain't read Esau did not ever rule Babylon. He did not ever rule Medo-Persia. He did not ever rule Greece, and he did not ever rule the Romans. Matter of fact, by the time you get to the Greek Empire, Esau was subdued by Israel out of existence. So now all of a sudden, how is he behind this great empire that come in the end? Esau has already been judged. That's over with. Esau was incorporated into ancient Israel. You can read this in Josephus and any history book. He was incorporated into ancient Israel because he was conquered by ancient Israel, and his final fate was going into slavery with Israel in 70 A.D. And he's been there ever since. How in the world he go from being in the slavery to now he's ruling the world? Somebody don't understand prophecy. That's what's going on. That red has nothing to do with Esau or with hellfire. None of these beasts had anything to do with Esau or hellfire. So where are they coming up with this? They're making it up. But now, let me show y'all something. Let's go to Exodus chapter 30 and verse 1. And I'm going to show y'all that in the scriptures, sin is linked to blood. And we know that blood is red. Right? Exodus 30 and 1. Let me show y'all something. We're going to show you in this class that blood represents sin. It represents wickedness. It represents fault. It represents guiltiness. And that's why this dragon, who is Satan himself, is covered in red. Who's more wicked than Satan? That's why I said the dragon was red. All over, he's red. Because it represents evil. It represents wickedness when it pertains to that blood. That's why I want y'all to see that. Not red in general, just when it pertains to that blood. I'm going to show y'all that. Exodus 30 and verse 1. 30 and 1. Go ahead and read.
And thou shalt make an altar to burn incense upon. Of shittim wood shalt thou make it.
So he said they're going to make an altar to burn incense upon. But it wasn't just for burning incense. We're going to see what else it was for. Skip down to verse 10 and read.
And Aaron shall make an atonement upon the horns of it once in a year with the blood of the sin offering of atonement.
With the what of the sin offerings?
Blood.
With the blood of the sin offerings. In other words, you couldn't make an offering for sin without blood being involved. And what color is blood? Red. You see what I'm saying? And this right here is talking about the Day of Atonement. Because he did this once a year. Go ahead and read.
Once in a year shall he make an atonement upon it throughout your generations. It is most holy unto the Lord.
Notice, in order for a sin, and sin is wicked, this sin is iniquity, in order for a sin offering to be made, blood was associated with it. And what color is blood, big baby?
Red.
It's red, right? Okay, now let's go over to Leviticus chapter 4, pick it up in verse 22. You have to understand these things. And we're going to keep showing you that the blood, which is red, represents wickedness, represents sin. Leviticus 4 and 22. 4 and 22. It represents fault. It represents wrong. All this describes Satan, don't it? 4 and 22. Go ahead and read.
When a ruler have sinned and done somewhat throughout ignorance against any of the commandments of the Lord, his God, concerning things which should not be done, and is guilty.
And is what? Guilty. It said if a ruler have sinned through ignorance and is guilty, that means he's at fault, right? Go ahead and read.
Or of his sin, wherein he have sinned, come to his knowledge, he shall bring his offering, a kid of the goats, a male without blemish. And he shall lay his hand upon the head of the goat, and kill it in the place where they killed the burnt offering before the Lord. It is a sin offering.
It is what kind of offering?
A sin offering.
Now watch what has to accompany this sin offering. Go ahead and read.
And the priest shall take of the blood of the sin offering with his finger.
He shall take of the what of the sin offering? The blood. What color is blood? Red. Notice every time you're dealing with sin, even in the offering, blood is associated with it. But wait a minute. When we read in Revelation 17 and we looked at that word in the Greek translated scarlet, it said crimson color. Crimson is the color of blood. You know you got different colors of red. I know y'all understand that. But crimson is the color of blood. It's saying this beast, this one world order beast that is fueled by the red dragon, is the color of crimson, which is the color of blood. And we see that blood represents sin. What this is saying is this one world order is a wicked, sinful order. That's why it's scarlet covered. But we're going to keep reading. Go ahead and finish that up.
And put it upon the horns of the altar of burnt offering, and shall pour out his blood at the bottom of the altar of burnt offering.
So that's good, that's good. So we see that. But now skip down to verse 32 and continue.
And if he bring a lamb for a sin offering.
For what kind of offering? Sin offering. Sin, wickedness, iniquity, wrong, fault. Go ahead.
He shall bring it a female without blemish. And he shall lay his hand upon the head of the sin offering and slay it for a sin offering in the place where they killed the burnt offering. And the priest shall take of the blood of the sin offering.
Take the what of the sin offering?
The blood.
Notice that every time you're dealing with that sin, they have to bring that blood up. Why? Because sin was associated with blood. And blood is red. That's what you're dealing with. Go ahead and finish.
With his finger, and put it upon the horns of the altar of burnt offering, and shall pour out all the blood thereof at the bottom of the altar.
And he's going to put the blood on the altar. Why? Because somebody sinned. Whenever somebody sinned, you saw blood. What color is blood? Red. So whenever you saw sin, you saw red. Whenever you saw sin, you saw crimson red. Now when you get to Revelations and you read about a beast, the color of blood, you've been reading so far, and ever since, that blood represents sin. It ain't so hard to see now, is it? But we're going to keep showing you that, because they don't just deal with it in the sacrifice. I just want to show y'all the connection in the sacrifice. I'm going to show y'all the connection in everyday Bible terminology. But let's move on. Let's go to Ezekiel 33 and verse 1. And this is related to the trumpet class, the memorial of the blowing of trumpets. But let me show y'all something. Ezekiel 33 and verse 1. And y'all done read this before, but now it's going to have a whole different meaning. Now that you understand the connection between that blood and that sin. 33 and 1. Go ahead and read.
Again, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, when I bring the sword upon a land, if the people of the land take a man of their coast and set him for their watchman.
It says, but when I bring the sword upon the land, which means when I bring evil upon the land for what this nation has been doing, you need to set up somebody to be a watchman to watch out for this evil that God is going to bring upon the land. But watch what it says. Go ahead and read.
If when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people.
He blow the trumpet and warn the people. Warn the people from what? Y'all need to stop sinning or God is going to kill you. That's the warning. Go ahead and read.
Then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning.
Whosoever hear the sound of the trumpet but don't listen. Go ahead.
If the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head.
His what shall be upon his own head?
Blood.
Are we talking about literal blood being here? No. When it says his blood shall be upon his own head, it means his sin gonna be upon his own head. His own fault gonna be upon his head. His wrong gonna be upon his head. It's gonna be his fault. That's what this is saying. But it called it blood, didn't it? That's what this is saying. Keep reading.
He heard the sound of the trumpet, and took not warning.
He heard the sound but didn't listen. Go ahead and read.
His blood shall be upon him.
His blood shall be upon him. Not literal blood, people. His sin shall be upon him. It's going to be his fault. That's what this is saying. But he called it blood. What color is blood? So if you're saying symbolically that his sin going to be upon him, and you're talking about blood, then what color would he be symbolically? Red. If his blood is upon him, his red going to be on him. That's what this is saying. His wickedness going to be on him. Nobody to blame but him. Go ahead and read.
But he that taketh warning shall deliver his soul.
But he that take a warning shall save his life. Go ahead and read.
But if the watchman see the sword come,
But if the watchman see the sword come and do what?
and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, if the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity.
He is taken away in his iniquity. But the trumpeter didn't say anything. He didn't warn him. Go ahead and read.
But his blood will I require at the watchman's hand.
What is he saying now? It's going to be the watchman's fault. But what did they call it? Blood. So now the watchman is now covered with red. In other words, the sin is upon the watchman. The wrong is upon the watchman. But they called it blood. See, in the scriptures, they trying to let you see that blood is linked to sin. And blood is red. Has nothing to do with hellfire. Has nothing to do with Edom. This is sin. You follow what I'm saying? Finish reading.
So thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore thou shalt hear the word at my mouth, and warn them from me.
You shall warn them from me. In other words, stop sinning, or God is going to kill you. This is what we're trying to tell everybody today. And by doing that, we are getting the red off of us. That's what people don't understand. Go ahead and read.
When I say unto the wicked, O wicked man, thou shalt surely die, if thou dost not speak to warn the wicked from his way.
If I say to the wicked, you're going to surely die, if you don't speak to the wicked to warn him from his way so he can stop being wicked, go ahead.
That wicked man shall die in his iniquity.
He shall die in his wickedness or his sin, but what?
But his blood will I require at thy hand.
His blood will I require at your what?
Hand.
Notice that his blood will I require at your what? Hand, what we call it? Your blood is on my hands. Whoa, your sin. This ain't talking about literal blood. This is talking about fault. This is talking about guiltiness. This is about wickedness. But we already knew that because we read in the sacrifice that the sin offering was always linked to the blood. That's the Bible talking to you. Anybody that's telling you that the red on the dragon represents Edom is not reading this Bible. They just listen to some ignorant elders on told them. Anybody that's telling you that the dragon is red because that's the light from the hellfire on him is not reading this Bible. They just listen to something some ignorant pastor done told them. All throughout the book, and we just getting started. I'm going to show y'all over and over again. This is the case. Right? Go ahead and finish that up. Verse 9. Verse 9. Start at verse 9.
Nevertheless, if thou warn the wicked of his way to turn from it,
If you warn the wicked, if you say something, go ahead.
if he do not turn from his way, he shall die in his iniquity.
Wait a minute. We just read earlier where it said his blood going to be upon him. Now we're reading he going to die in his iniquity. Put two and two together. His blood being upon him means he going to die for his own sin. That's what that's saying. But it represents it with blood because blood is linked to the sin. Whenever somebody sinned, blood was required in the sacrifice. Then it became such a action that people just started symbolically linking blood and sin together. That's the red that we're dealing with here. Not the red of Edom, the pottage, the stew. They ain't got nothing to do with this. Not hellfire. Can't read that nowhere in there. Right? But now, let's move on. Let's go to Psalms, chapter 26. And now we're going to look at something that the Bible has that scholars call repeated poetry. And what that means is you're going to see that a lot in the Bible and particularly in this class. Repeated poetry is when something is stated in the Bible once, and then in the same verse,